and welcome back to EU Masters Spring 2020. I'm QuickShot, joined by Foxtrot. This will be our last cast of the day, but I'm excited we get to see Giants taking on LDLC. Rogue and their coach Sharks feeling real bold earlier today, saying that Giants are going to win here, they're going to beat Defuse Kids, and that's them pretty much on lockdown. They have a tiebreaker game, which he kind of implied they'd easily win. So there's a lot of pressure on LDLC to kind of step up here and increase their chances of making the playoffs.
Yeah, having lost that game to Rogue, that's really tough for LDLC, because if Vodafone being 4-0, they win one more game, they're top in the group. You're really kind of playing for that second spot, realistically speaking. And your direct competition is someone you've just lost to, so they're going to look for a big bounce back in this game. I'll see how much they can reset, because they don't get a break here, right? They were playing just last game, so it might be tough for them to get that mental reset.
They got the same break that you did, good sir, watching the interview in the ad breaks, and they're straight back into it. So, it's not a lot of time. I do want to put some numbers to it, though, just to put some clarity. If Giants win this game, they take first place in every single remaining scenario. Obviously, no one can catch them at 5 wins. If, however, Giants lose this game, then they take 5 out of the 8 remaining scenarios. They still take first, and at worst, they're in a tiebreaker for first as well. So even the crazy scenarios, still sort of favor Giants. One thing to call out, though, LDLC, they are on the red side. They have the ability to counterpick. It's something that Sharks called out earlier. So let's dive into this game. Let's talk about Vétheo coming up against Pretty, Hades against Attila. Those are the lanes that I'm the most excited in. Bando and Antonio, look, you can get me excited, right? But I'm looking at the mids and the bots.
I'm not even going to try, to be honest with you. I think we should focus more, exactly as you say, mid and bot here. So I'm curious to see specifically in the draft with mid laners, to see like Pretty, for example. LeBlanc is the most banned champion versus Vodafone Giants. He's so good on that champ. But we also see a lot of Syndra having high priority as well. Now we've got 2 bans left, and Vodafone Giants are going to get that first pick. And with the way that these bans have gone so far, you might be able to see something spicy coming out of this mid. And I do think sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, I'm just trying to think of the power picks that are open. Ornn,
Senna, Syndra.
Yeah.
Like somebody's going to go through
for Pretty here. It would be. And there's the LeBlanc. I mean, you talked about it. Pretty played the Kassadin earlier today. I don't think he got the chance to really shine on that Kassadin, mostly because Attila's Kalista just popped off, right? But he did what he needed to do. And with a lot of power picks available, I'm not surprised to see the fasting Senna. I think it has seen a lot of presence in the ban phase. And then you just see what kind of support is going to go with it.
Yeah, I think this is quite smart from Vodafone Giants, because I'm honestly not particularly convinced that Vétheo is very comfortable on that Syndra pick. He plays much more of the kind of like the leader style champions that we talked about a million times on EU Masters past and present. He much favors LeBlanc, Zoe, Yasuo, Sylas, Akali. He played Echo last game. He plays like those kind of champions. He doesn't like to pick the wave clear mids, the kind of like the Azirs and the like. And even with Syndra open, she's not really the style of go forward melee mid laners that I just listed, despite being really strong. And I think the problem is it'll be a big blunder, I think, if Vodafone Giants gets both those picks, if they do want to opt into the Syndra now as well.
Now let's talk a little bit about how LDLC also have to bounce back from the previous game. Bando played that Ornn with the Aatrox locked in. You anticipate that going to his hands on the top lane. Ornn is arguably more forgivable if you're a little out of position. I think Aatrox maybe a little less so. You can make an argument, of course, but I really think there was a number of times where either he individual or as a team made a call to move in a certain direction or to do something, and he was the most visible person that got punished by Rogue. It's very difficult to just wipe that from your memory and now go into a game with arguably a stronger opponent, and in what can prove to be a do or die game.
Yeah, I think Bando was kind of like a 50-50 there between him just getting caught out in bad situations, but also he was the main instigator for LDLC last game. And when you're really up against it and you're just kind of suffocating and you're going to lose slowly, you have to make something happen. And so he's going to be the guy to try that. So And they weren't able to, but still he's the one who would, like, looks like he's just getting killed. But what? Oh,
wait, hang on. Is that okay? We got Shyvana. Oh my word. That's got to be TynX. That's got to be TynX playing Shyvana. I need to just look up my stats and see whether he's played that this year or not. So give me a moment. What do you think of Shyvana, my friend?
All right. So this is most likely going to be the AP Shyvana, because on-hit Shyvana, AD Shyvana has kind of been killed a little bit. Not as good anymore. It's good if you can play around the dragons, but you're kind of just flipping the game in like a strong bot side. When you're playing versus Senna, Tahm, Kench, you've really got to get like a good control around the bot side of the map, and I just would be surprised to see that being an on-hit. But AP is very, very strong. Huge burst damage, especially if the other team doesn't have the kind of front line to tank those big flame breaths that come out of you in dragon form.
So just so you know, right, this is the first Shyvana of the year for TynX. You Masters all within the LFL. The Graves in the previous game, also the first of the year, just by the way. But history, we have a lot of it with TynX. So even though he hasn't played it regionally or locally, we saw that a lot. The Shyvana, didn't Jankos play it in the last game of the season against Misfits? And he also went AP. So that whole description that I think you just painted, I do have a visceral memory, physically flame breath burned into my brain of how it plays out. But my word, like, that was a bit of a I don't like using the word troll game, but it was a non-serious game. It was a happy game.
It was.
And this is not a happy game for LDLC. Like, this is a very serious game.
Yeah, I kind of like it though, because I do think that TynX is the style of jungler who he has been taking over games quite a lot, and Shyvana is definitely the style of champion that can do that. But we are seeing a Bard locked in here as well, as you do. We're going to pick that one up here.
Ladies and gentlemen, get your friends, get your family. I started with my prep with Foxtrot saying I really want some fun drafts. If I see an Azir and a Corki, like, I'm honestly just going to rage quit this game. And honestly, Foxtrot did not set me up for success. He was like, hey Trev, like, hey, do you remember last week? Do you remember the drafts? Like, you really try to calm me down. But in our last cast of the day, Shyvana jungle, Pretty's got himself an Akali, fasting Senna, Bard Varus bottom lane, and we still don't know what mid laner Vétheo's going to run into this Akali. So I'm all for this. This is definitely the way to go out with Group B.
Oh yeah. This is going to be a really fun game, that's for sure, even with this blind Akali locking mid. She's a relatively decent blind pick. As you can see, LDLC put a lot of pressure on the blind mid laners there. I'm not talking about Lee Sin role swapping or anything, I'm talking about like the Azir and the Victor. So he's kind of had to go for something a bit different. But yeah, I want to see what they counter pick it with now. Yeah, as you do, you've locked in the Ezreal. As you do. Yeah.
Okay. So, I want to cosplay or role play now. Let's pretend that this was you creating a piece of content on YouTube, and you have to explain the draft, okay? And you started out, right? How do you do that to me, your average gold silver player?
Well, firstly, it's a YouTube video, so I've got my caps lock on. That's one thing. I don't know where to even start. Like, I honestly don't. Like, so okay, I'm thinking the Shyvana is up against one of the more kind of docile jungler picks in the Sejuani. It's kind of like a chilled out like draft all over the board, to be honest, apart from that Renekton Aatrox top, but even that's kind of just like,
I'm not sure it gets more solo queue than this. Like, I don't think you could see a more solo queue draft than what LDLC have put together, which maybe when your back's against the wall, maybe that, like, if your opponents don't know if you don't know what you're gonna do, your opponents definitely can't know what you're gonna do.
I would have thought, like, surely you wouldn't want to stick an AD carry against an Akali, but you have taken that exhaust, and this is a new exhaust which is absolutely busted. But this is his first Ez mid game of the year. First AD carry mid lane. It doesn't even play like Lucian or anything like that. Actually, I lie. He did play it once, actually. He did play it once against Vitality. So he went for the lethal tempo, went for the AD build in that mid lane, and he did win. So there is some precedent here with Vétheo. and his and his Ezreal mid.
The real question is, how does the Ezreal mid combine with the Varus bard and Shyvana Aatrox? Look, I'm really excited to watch how this plays out, especially because like even in that last game, TynX on the Graves against Rogue, like he was everywhere. At one point, he had a 3-level lead over Zara. Oh, excuse me. And unfortunately for TynX, literally the range of Graves is kind of what held him back. He's got more range on a Shyvana and more mobility on a Shyvana, so you know this could be an upgrade if he manages to get rolling.
Yeah, that's a big if as well, because you've got on the side of Giants there with the Tahm Kench, and that's like the farming Tahm Kench as well, right? Not just the support Tahm Kench. So he's going to have items. You've got Sejuani, you've got Renekton. These are 3 champions that are pretty good at absorbing poke, which is what AP Shyvana does a lot of. Like you want to kind of group up and siege with her and just lob out your fire breaths and just chunk people down to gain the advantage through that. Early game, obviously looking for more of that jungle control, which he absolutely should be able to have against the Sejuani. I'm just, you know, I'm sort of really sure where the Ez fits in, because it doesn't really give you a huge amount of mid control, but I mean it does. You are that ranged into melee, so maybe that's, you know, got something going for you there.
I guess one of the things as well to remember is like the ability to kite and poke. If he maybe goes for a slightly more defensive build, like you don't need more damage on this composition for LDLC. If you combine Aatrox, Shiv, even a slightly more tanky like blue build Ez with Varus, like you got it for days. Add some slows, maybe a Frozen Fist could be an idea. TK, Renekton, Sej, they kind of want to waddle at you, and as long as you stay out of range of the prison. I don't really know. And definitely don't take advice from me on how to play at this level, but it will be interesting to watch how it plays out, because it definitely surprised Foxy and I, and you know we've been watching and sort of studying these teams for a couple of weeks, so this will be fun.
Yeah, my gas has been flattered for sure in this draft right here, so I'm not pretty sure what to expect, but Vétheo's pushing up a little bit here.
Yeah, nice timing on the Arcane Shift, but he will still get caught by that flail. And let's talk a little bit about the expectations of the teams. You know, we talked about
a face check. This is a face check.
Twin Bite in the face. Auto, Twin Bite, Burnouts, and that's already the flash. I mean, honestly, that's just unfortunate for Lamabear, but for LDLC, we talked about in the previous game, the way that they win is often like led by TynX. He's kind of the tip of the spear, as it were. And it's been a little while since we've seen Giants, you know, with the comp that they have that's more expectable and standard. Damn it, I'm never going to get you to talk, Foxtrot. Vétheo and TynX are now trading. Exhaust goes out. Mystic Shock goes out. That's a dash black. Pretty gets the kill on the dash back. Really well played, but he loses his life in exchange.
Yeah, Vétheo missed a lot of skill shots right there, and you know he had no flash. Like, sure, you've got the exhaust, but yeah, unfortunately for him, he is going to fall down there, and now he's given the. So this is the big thing about these 2 mid laners here, right? So Akali wants to get that Gunblade Rush, whereas Ez wants to stack up his mana immune into the Mura mana and get that Triforce/Frozen Fist. But the thing is, like, which one of those 2 comes online first? The 1 item or the 2 item with the 2 item? One of the items needs to scale up by itself as well. Like, you know which one's coming on first, and now you're just accelerating pretty to get to that point. I think that's definitely something that LDLC are going to have to be afraid of here. And watch the skill shots of the Vétheo misses. There's 1 there, there's 2 there, there's 3 coming up here as well. And this exhaust doesn't actually stop Pretty from doing damage. Like that's it's used as a slow. And it's a decent slow, but it just means that, you know, he just turns it around and kills him.
There's the ultimate silver lining. It is a useful slow. Irrelevant against the flash and burst that Pretty comes back. And I think it's so important to call out. Like, it's not about you know, poking fun or anything, but had those skill shots landed, first bloods on LDLC side, they don't lose a life arguably, and when a team is under this much pressure, those missed skill shots become very, very important. Let's give praise though that TynX on the Shyvana, he's already up 9 monsters and has picked up the Mountain Drake. And with the Ocean being the next one, it's going to be either the Infernal or the Cloud Rift. And we'll just have to see how that impacts. I mean, if you were to give Cloud Soul to the LDLC comp, I think that would be very beneficial for them. Movement is crucial for that team.
Yeah, definitely. I think that so Cloud Soul often gets like memed a little bit, you know, the Clown Soul, it's not that useful, and That's kind of true when you're comparing it to things like Inferno and Ocean, but that doesn't mean that it's bad by itself. And it's also quite comp reliant too, so hold this fort because Lamabear's... Alright, they're going to set up a cheeky little trap pick. By the way, we didn't touch on this at all in the draft, but Antonio is on Renekton. That's not a tank, by the way.
Thank you. Very, very good point. We will get to that right now because Antonio is backing up Lamabear. Dominus is ticking. And TynX gets dinked. I mean, that was an easy kill. And the Antonio Renekton, I'm going to take a look through his win-loss over the course of the year. But, you know, definitely both of these players, slightly different looks. Aatrox isn't exactly a tank either. But is a little bit more of those, like, sort of weak side pick. And when I look at the Antonio, by the way, first Renekton of the year. Right? Like, of the year.
How does the top laner do that in this meta? How is this your first Renekton of the year? Fair enough, though. I mean, I respect it. It's, you know, Renekton Aatrox, who I'm sure, you know, being the resident LEC geezer, old geezer, you've seen a lot of this knocking about.
I'm going to quickly do a quick search. Not a single Aatrox either. So, you know, you've got your Gangplank Cho, Scion, Hecarim, Malphite Poppy, even a Soraka, Rumble set, but no Aatrox, no Renekton from the Antonio. So this is a team that is 4-0 and playing his first 2020 Renekton game. Let's see what LDLC can do. Magical Journey, level 6. There's a dissenting dragon on the way. Oh, Hades is just baiting. Hades is baiting.
Yeah, it's good bait,
it's time to go fishing. Flame Breath comes out, the flash comes down, and Erdote gets knocked up into the air. Here comes Bando. The True Shot Barrage for good measure. Not going to be an assist on the first kill, but the Umbral Chains. It pulls it back. Bando set up the double, but it is at the cost of 2 themselves.
Okay, the fact that... Oh, Pretty's going in as well. That's his ulti down.
Exhaust very good under the tower, and Vétheo this time around hits the skill shots. But yes, going back to the bot lane.
Yeah, that's like... Okay. Rewind a little bit. This is a perfect bait by Hades here. Good job, teammate, because this is like... Erdote takes that hook, line, and sinker. Pushes up way too far there, and it doesn't enable this play to start. The thing is that LDLC dedicated teleporting to this play, knowing they had the TP advantage, whereas obviously Giants don't, but it's still a 2v2, and look at that flash. Did you see that from YellOwStaR? He literally flashed forward to tank the Sejuani ult. That is the most heroic play I've seen since I watched Titanic. Legit. Like, that is a Titanic tier of heroic play.
I would let you stay on the door. You would be my Rose, Mr. Wyatt. As
Except
LDL.
Rose is dead in this situation as well. Like, Rose still dies. It's just maybe it's like starvation or something. It's a bit different, but
touche. Okay, yeah, I didn't quite think through my analogy. I just wanted to like try be the knight.
What's up with roses, by the way? Like, honestly, you name someone after a rose because it's pretty, but roses are the most needy things in the world. You should name someone weed.
I agree.
Weed is just, yeah, it's more practical.
For what it's worth, roses also sting you. The thorns are horrible. Also, they're very common. Like, a lot of people get roses, right?
True.
Find another flower. Pro tip to anyone who has a partner. If you're buying your partner flowers, please find something creative. Maybe they like roses. Great. And good for you. But think a little more about it. Let's turn back to this game instead of relationship advice with old man Henry. And LDLC are on the retreat. Lamabear's locked down TynX, who is in Dragon's form. He's going to be able to flash over the wall. He now gets chased down, and Attila, the Curse of the Black Mist. That was a fantastic ultimate from YellOwStaR, but where is the damage follow-up? The Mystic Shots and the Piercing Arrows are not finding anything. Here comes Bando. He's going to try get into range. The World Ender is there. The Magical Journey.
Nice.
Not going to find the chain yet, but the chains pull the catfish backwards. And Bando gets himself 1. 5 kills to 5. 10 minutes on the board. Even gold. And LDLC are putting themselves in a fighting chance.
Yeah, I think this game is delivering everything that we were expecting and hoping out of the madness that was the draft. We're getting... This is a scrappy game, man. This is a scrappy game. 9-for-1. I'm all for it. LDLC here have to be careful if they dedicate to this Herald, though. Because the dragon is up, right? And I don't think... You know... This is something you kind of want to give to your Shyvana. Shyvana gets extra stats from dragon as well. Uh-oh, Antonio.
Oh, the Dominus does a lot of work. TynX will now be in some trouble. Pretty's coming up. I held my breath for Hades. Pretty didn't have his ultimate though, so he's fine. Quickly talking about items, by the way. No Gunblade For Pretty, it is an Infernal Rift that is spawning, and the Manamune is slowly stacking for Vétheo. It was one of those storylines that you brought up a moment or two ago, and it's one that I want to keep my eyes on to see how this Ezreal continues to impact. Because right now, farming up a full 2 waves.
Yeah, this Ez has done a pretty... Oh, man, actually, he's just... Yeah, you're storing, mate. You got to... Oh! Love that, you cheeky swine.
I do not care if you're wearing headphones. Pay attention and watch the replay when it comes up.
Oh,
that
mate.
was fantastic.
Dude, that was cheeky. That was hella cheeky. Look at this. So I've already used a cheeky swine line here, but I'm gonna say it's make the stroke anyway because this was good enough. It's a good thing he's using the Chinese skin here, wearing the pig. That's why, so he could be a cheeky swine. Look at that, like perfectly predicted the dash from Vétheo there. He's even got both summoners up, and he's just not able to react at all. That is the kind of the downside of a pick like Ez in that mid lane. Like, you get locked down, you die. Pretty much simple as that.
Really nicely done by Lamabear. And at some point, my neighbors are going to knock on the door and just ask Trevor, what the hell just happened? Apologies to those of you wearing headphones. Now you've watched the replay. I am more normal. But, I mean, this game is great, Foxy. Like, Bando's sitting up here in the top lane with TynX. TynX has got Dragon's Descent available. I didn't see if he's transformed it. I think they're going to get themselves a cat. That's the burst damage. Now he's going to go Grey Health comes up. Attila's going to look for the root. Teleport coming down. And just as I think it's turning one way, Dragon's Descent will take Pretty towards the tower. Bando's going to get himself one more Dark Blade knockup before now Vétheo arrives, but the rest of the party's late. And Hades is staying in the mid lane. This is a 3 versus 5, but the Giants are low on HP. YellOwStaR's already used the Tempest Fate, and now the rest of LDLC are going to back away. 1 minute and 10 seconds on turret plates. So the fight goes the way of Giants, but the map play goes the way of LDLC.
Yeah, Giants they're not done yet.
No, they're not. Vétheo survives, stays alive. YellOwStaR, I think he landed the Q stun, and the exhaust buys time. That's a double for Vétheo. Now Yellow's in trouble. Pretty's going to look to chase him down. Attila will get an assist off of this one, and LDLC sticking around for the tower. Unfortunately get themselves punished, but I think YellOwStaR allowed the double kill to happen. I kind of paid attention elsewhere in the fight, and that Cosmic Binding may have just done it. Nevertheless, 9 kills to 7. LDLC maintain the gold and dragon lead.
That's still good though, I think, at 2 for 2 for LDLC, especially since both those kills go over to Ezreal here. So we're gonna test your theory here. Was this a YellOwStaR heroic play? It's a pretty good re-engage from Giants, especially since Vétheo just uses Arcane Shift. That's not up. Yeah, that's...
There you go!
Yeah, that's sexy.
I had to retroactively figure out why they weren't moving, because I missed it live. But,
what is crowd control?
Yes!
Yeah, no, I'm like, perfectly stunned.
How did he not die? Oh, look at that!
Deserved.
The man, the myth, the legend. Tanking Sedge ults, landing Cosmic Bindings, because there's so much on the line. If Giants win this game, they are guaranteed quarterfinals, either first or second seed. For LDLC, their chances go much more difficult. Obviously, with the fact that Defuse Kids are playing against Rogue immediately after. And for LDLC, if they win this game, well, things get spicy at the top. So now Bando finds himself in trouble. The World Ender and Flash are tools he's currently looking to use. He'll sidestep at least that engage for now, and eventually gets run down 2, 1, and 3 on the Antonio's Renekton.
Here we go. TynX is replying with his own play in that mid lane, but not quite the same impact that Sejuani has in these ganks. If only that E was not fire but ice and just stunned everything, then maybe he'd have a better time of things. I think there was a champion that could do that, but hey, maybe that's a question for another day.
Yeah.
This Lamabear though, he's been everywhere. Like, he's 2-1-7 at this point, 90% kill participation. He's actually, he's really popping off here, and I think a lot. Well, yeah, obviously, just that KP says it all. Like, a lot of the plays are really revolving around him and his ganks, and it's doing a good job for Giants here.
Yeah, he really is. And Giants now, they picked up 2 towers in the last few minutes. I mean, we've gone over the 15-minute mark. We've got 17 kills in the game, and potentially more. Erdote on the top. Kench is just waiting. Oh, sidestepping the Tempered Fate. After all the praise for Yellow, he misses a fishing attempt. And that's actually crucial. 10 seconds until the Infernal is up, Foxdrop. We haven't had too much time to look at the items, but it's still 1 and a bit items for both Pretty and Vétheo, and fairly similar across the board. The Antonio's going on Blade of the Rune King. for his first professional Renekton of the year. And let's see how that works out in this ensuing dragon fights.
Yeah, LDLC, they want this dragon.
I mean, they're going to get Erdote immediately. They donated that kill over to Vétheo. Dragon number 3 picked up by LDLC. Giants get a dragon of their own. A wyvern at least, as Shyvana goes down. And Pretty, with the fancy feet, executes a perfect retreat.
That was actually... Okay, this is huge. This is huge for LDLC right now. So the fact that they're up 3 dragons puts them in soul point. And this Infernal Soul is really, really powerful, specifically for this team as well. Like, Infernal Soul with Poke is a match made in heaven, like peanut butter and jam. It's delicious. You've got lethality coming out of Varus, so he's obviously going for that Poke build too. You've got Ezreal being Ezreal. You've got Shyvana, AP Shyvana being AP Shyvana. It's scary, you know. There's a lot of Poke coming through there, and you add that Infernal burn to it as well. And just when Giants were really taking control of this game as well, you know, I think if the scenarios were flipped and Giants had 3 dragons, I'd say that's kind of game. You know, it seems as though Giants are really taking that next step, but now it's a very tumultuous game, very spicy.
It really is. 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes rather, until the next dragon, as you mentioned in our Bando. He's going to dash over the wall, take a lot of damage. Remember, Blade of the Ruined King, the Antonio, but support's coming in. TynX has got the descent. He goes in. Flame Breath, the tag, not enough. The dash over from Bando. He manages to chain the Antonio down. LDLC is close. Now, by the way, I'm sending just a quick personal shout-out to Sharks. I said to Sharks, there is a scenario, a crazy one, in which DK, LDLC, and Rogue all tie at 2 wins, 4 losses. And that scenario starts with one of these crazy victories. Actually, my whole story was a lie. That was if Giants win. Tie for first place happens if LDLC win. And my whole point in making fun of Sharks is ruined, as now LDLC look to take their second tower and once again extend that gold lead a little further before immediately Pretty evens it out.
Just taking another look at these items here. So I think item breakpoints are a really important thing to keep your eyes on in this game, specifically for LDLC. Shyvana she wants some items as well. It's hard to say whether she's like where she really spikes, because it's AP Shyvana, you don't see it that much, and I think item spikes in solo queue are much more underplayed compared to how they are in professional. But I still think getting that Nash's Tooth second, I consider her a bit of a 2-item champion as well. So we've just completed the Triforce from Ezreal, so Vétheo, he's big, he's happy about that one. And we're soon going to be getting the Nash's Tooth from TynX as well. And obviously the more lethality that Hades gets, you know, he's just going to be continuously chunking down the squishies too. So for LDLC, you know, this next dragon fight soon is going to be pretty good.
Let's not forget the fact that Deadman's Plate is picked up for Erdote as well. You know, this farming TK is going to be another frontline member, combining with Lamabear Sejuani. But look at TynX waiting in the wings. Anybody that's played Dungeons and Dragons before will know that's a wyvern, not a dragon, or a dragon lady, or a half dragon.
Because he's got four limbs and
the wings
attached to the front too.
That's it. That's it.
It's like Skyrim, it's all about being the Dragonborn.
There you go. I will never ever agree with anybody that says otherwise. It came first. It defined it. And it's just fun that I get to see another one of those games. Nevertheless, dude, minutes and a half till Dragon. Let's do some setup. Who do you think has got sort of the advantages in terms of either itemization or map play? It's nearly 20 minutes on the clock as well, so we're also heading towards Baron territory.
Yeah, I'm thinking the 5v5s go more in the favour of Giants, simply because you've got more space to play with a stronger front line. Like if you've got carries in your team that do damage, that's great, but you need to create the space in order for them to do the damage. Also, just they're vulnerable, they can't really do anything, and it's all, you know, it all goes to hell. And LDLC, they have a lot of damage, but like who's gonna tank up the enemy team while you pump out damage from LDLC? And I just don't think that they have the answers to that right now. But they have alternatives, you know.
Yes. I was gonna say, the Tempered Fates could theoretically remove some of those frontline or backline threats.
Okay.
I also think the poke damage could help them, and for LDLC, this is bold. This is bold, ladies and gentlemen. LDLC, with their backs against the wall in the group stages here at EU Masters. They start the Baron. They're in the pit. They secured. It's Vétheo that does it. It's not TynX. One escapes. Who else gets away? Now Vétheo and YellOwStaR are down, and 3 members of LDLC are alive for the time being. This will allow some split pushing. Bando
mate.
is going all in. The Darkened Blades. And honestly, like I choked on my own voice. I don't understand.
I was watching that and I was expecting something to happen. Like, yo, what kind of sick 5,000 IQ outplay does Bando have in his mind here? And the answer is nothing.
It loses. Like, okay, yes, right. LDLC get the Baron, the Gold, and they've got the buff on, what, 2 members. But now they lose the Infernal Soul. And I think we're going to have to interview Bando at some point. But nevertheless, Baron goes down as Vétheo that picked it up.
Yeah, this is so, like, this is the butt clench moment. There's just no other way to put it, like, straight up. Like, the fact that that's not even a smite that takes it. Both junglers are in the pit. That is scary stuff. I like... We're really going to have to watch this again. What is he thinking? Like, what is... I really don't... I just, honestly, like, I'm just... you hire me to be on this show to provide analysts to talk about these things, and I have nothing to say. Like, I just don't know.
What I love about this is, you have so elegantly, Foxtrot, shifted all of the blame to me now, right? I've been like, dude, you put me here. How?
True.
Am I meant to know? Like, I thought that was beautifully executed. And now for LDLC, they still are looking for a beautifully executed moment. Like, 23 kills, 22 minutes. The Infernal Soul is still available for LDLC, but now it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds away. Yes, they got themselves a Baron. That's also 4 minutes away. But this is just one of those crazy bonkers games that we're getting into Masters. Is it the cleanest play? No, I'm not going to pretend that it is. But it's fun to watch.
It is.
And there's huge stakes and implications. So, like, these guys are playing for a lot right now.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, it may be a bit fiesta-y, but that whole play around the Baron, you know, there's a good intent behind that. You know, you're predicting that Giants are going to really hard focus on denying the Infernal Soul. So what do you do? Oh, we'll just pick up the Baron while you get that dragon, you know? So there is logic there. It's just the Giants were, you know, wise to their ploys and they're going to get an engage.
Yeah, they are indeed. Glacial Prison comes down. Tempered Fate manages to lock up the tower in Lamabear. I don't think the Chains of Corruption would have hit a target anyway. Hades, by the way, 1-0-3 on his Varus, has quietly been amassing a lot of power. And this game is still, like, you cannot predict who's going to win here. Hades holds on to the trigger. He escapes for now, as the rest of LDLC escape. And, like, it's going to come down to the next big objective fight. It's going to come down to whoever plays that fight better, and they'll win this game. I mean, there's not a lot of logic to my predictions right now.
No, straight up. And you know, you're seeing as this game goes on, like, the poke is sticking less and less for LDLC here. Like, you do have targets that you just can't effectively poke, you know, especially the Sejuani, the Tahm, Kench. And if those are the two champions that are leading the charge, that are face checking the fog of war, there's no way you can really chunk someone out effectively enough in order for you to then be able to take a team fight where you have the advantage, because I do think in the pure 5v5 the Giants should be able to take it. So it's one of those situations now where it's a little bit awkward for LDLC. They're going to try and catch someone, but just look at that. Sejuani, Tahm, Kench, double stacking, and here they go.
Well, let's see how much damage gets put down. I mean, Attila from a single Flame Breath, and that's before you add in Mystic Shots or Piercing Arrows. Yeah. By the way, Attila 4, 1, and 6. 2.5 items, like, you know, really strong on that Senna already. As, you know, he's going to be called on. 1.5 minutes until Infernal. Glacial Prison will connect onto Vétheo. He manages to at least buffer the Arcane Shift, and he escapes with his life, but it does cost his flash. And I think, crucially, some control of the river. If you look at the minimap, Giants now setting up for Dragon.
Yeah, and you're seeing the difference there when... Who's frontlining for Giants, even in these lane plays? It's the tanky guys. Who's frontlining for LDLC? It's the blonde explorer kid. And there's a difference there, you know? Like, that was a pretty... I don't know whether adventurous is the right word, but it's not like he was particularly out of position, you know? He was very close to his tower. Yeah. He had friends around him, but just still it happens, you know?
Well, let's see how much damage connects here. That's a Chain of Corruption used. Remember, 40 seconds to Dragon. Bando.
Oh, no.
It's going to be jumped on here. Look, Giants, they're
no.
looking for a pick. A pick before Dragon, or they can play the bait game. Foxtrot, is it going to work?
Oh, that's a good poke on Attila, though.
Tempered Fate, that's going to force out the flash! Man, TynX! The Flash Flame Breath does it. Vétheo, you get a lot of value out of the exhaust, and TynX is the Wyvern sniper you never knew you needed. Throws out another Flame Breath, continues to chase forward, looking for the twin bite into the Antonio's backside before another Flame Breath pops out. TynX is doing work that has to be Soul.
That is so beautiful for the French representatives here. That is perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I was harping on about that tanky front line, but what happens when there is no tanky front line? What happens when Attila's the one who gets caught out of position? 2 skills and he's donezo. He's out of there. This may even translate into the Baron as well. You've got the Infernal Soul here. Oh, this is big for LDLC.
Dude, teleport is up for Pretty in 5 seconds when he's alive. Erdote is there. So is Lamabear. But I think this will go down quick. 10,000 HP. Erdote's going to be able to get the Blast Cone. Oh, the Scrying's Orb, rather. They're inside the pit. This is another 50-50 smite fight. Chain of Corruption starts to spread. Locks down the Catfish. 3,000 HP. Curse of the Black Mist has tag. True Shot Barrage flies across. This is a full-on 50-50 smite piercing arrow, as well as Flame Breath and LDLC do it. They get the Baron. They've got the Infernal Soul. They're down on kills, but they're up on power. And AP Shyvana might do it. Like, what is this game?
Yeah, I was saying before, you know, the Baron play was well executed. I'm not quite sure about this one. This like right here is really smart. So Giants are caught on like 2 fronts here, where they're trying to trap, but at the same time they're the ones that get caught out. And TynX is doing a really good job with just pressing that button. It does so much damage. And this is the underrated thing about AP Shyvana. When you're in Dragon form, you don't have to actually hit your skill shot. You have to land the E where that circle, like the burn that gets left on the floor, where that's going to land. And so for a champion like Akali, who's got a small hitbox but likes to sit in one spot, like her W, her Shroud, AP Shyvana just, it slaps, Trevor. It hard slaps in those situations, and you're seeing it right there, you know.
And sometimes Giants are going to ask, how can she slap? And that's the question they'll be looking at as they try to regain control. Vétheo will once again use that Arcane Shift out to safety. Tempered Fate comes up, and that whiffs. Bando's going to be able to bounce over the wall. And LDLC, they lose 1 because of that front line, something you keep talking about. Foxtrot, you keep bringing it back, and it is proving true. But LDLC, look, they've got the damage, they've got the dragon buffs, they've got the soul.
Bando.
And this dude is like bold as heck. I'm going to use the word bold, okay? And I'm going to see what happens here as YellOwStaR's making his way in. Bando's going to lose the flash. Remember, he started this fight. Remember, he chased Giants for this fight.
Alright, you know what? So here we go. This is the scenario. You're LDLC. You're playing scrims. Bando must be doing this a lot more in scrims than he does it on the stage, okay? If there's not one of those squirty water bottles that the coach is standing behind squirting Bando every time he walks into Fog of War, then they're doing something wrong, and that's just a management like failure.
That's how I train Appa when she barks. I squirt her with the little water pistol. It makes her comfortable. It sends a message. Don't do this thing.
I'm just thinking like it's just. Yeah, you gotta be more careful. But hey, on the side of Giants, on the plus side, like it's so easy to make these picks because there's not. You can pick anyone. Like there's no good person.
One thing I definitely want to call out is like I have not been paying as much attention to what the rest of the LDLC team are doing. So if for some reason, and I'm building a disclaimer here, if for some reason where Bando's positioning has allowed LDLC time to either reset on a map or challenge for vision or something, like I'm having a bit of fun with this game as we are 30 kills in. And look at TynX. Tempered Fate locks up everybody, but who's locked inside with whom? YellOwStaR just pieces the hell out as TynX manages to once again come up. And look at that. The Ludens proc comes up. Bando rejoins the fray. Looks for Pretty. True Shot Barrage from Vétheo is ushering in the minions in the top lane. And the Darkened Blade from Bando's Aatrox is holding Giants in place so that TynX can spit fire and flame and rain hell down on the Giants. The base is open, and Giants, after losing to Rogue, losing to the team that they were above in the standings, look to secure their first win against the undefeated Giants in the group.
Yeah, and I have to say that it is through the Dragon Force that we are seeing Fire and Flames. Like, it's just absolutely intense so far. Like, this is even the, like, TynX starts this. He jumps into the middle of 3 people because he knows, genuinely,
look at that damage on Attila.
That wasn't even his E. That's just him, like, that's just the Goomba Stomp when he jumps on someone with his ulti. That's it. He could have comboed that really hard there, and generally, if Attila doesn't get gobbled up, he's done. But it's just, man, I love the way the LDLC, the whole approach to this game, I just love it. Like, and the way they're able to find these picks and these plays too. Like, it takes a lot of gusto to draw this out, especially, you know, this is first time Shyvana for TynX this year.
This year, yeah.
It's like, this is a pretty big do or die game. I know that's a very overstated phrase when it comes to these like knockouts and stuff, but legit, like, you just lost to Rogue. You know, you've got to find an advantage somewhere, and holy crap, what a way to do it.
What I also think is really exciting about this as well is it also means the games for the rest of the day are significantly more impactful now. The fact that Giants are not 100% locked, though very, very likely to take one of those top 2 places, the Defuse Kids games are even more important. You're not just playing spoiler, like, you legitimately can have huge impacts. Antonio, level 16 versus 16. Dominus for Arcane Shift, I call fair trade. No.
Hey, Vétheo is going to be very... Oh no, wait, that was his Vétheo King.
Yeah, correct. So the Antonio threw everything in. Much like Bando, Tempered Fate this time finds nobody. Lamabear's running for his life. LDLC want Wild Boar for dinner, but Pretty's jumping all the way in. Bando is down. Vétheo remains untouched, so is Hades. But TynX is in trouble. He flashes away. Look for the Flame Breath. He lands it onto Lamabear before he goes down. Magical Journey sends YellOwStaR under the tower, and he gets the Cosmic Binding. He locks the Croc up and escapes with his life. 2 members of Giants are down, 2 members of LDLC, but it's the outplays from LDLC that allowed that fight to go even. Pretty has teleported back into the fight. Both ADs for LDLC are around. Piercing Arrow comes down. Attila is down where he stands. Now Hades continues to step backwards. If he gets another fully charged Piercing Arrow, that might just sink Pretty. Waiting for the charge. Waiting for the charge. There it is. There it is. Gets it! Yes! To all the viewers watching at home, I've had so much fun in this game, and I don't even care that I am breaking the energy levels. This is bonkers gameplay, and LDLC are now looking at the Elder.
This is bonkers gameplay at its finest, Trevor. This is the EU Masters. That's a Bando TP if ever I've seen it.
Okay. For the rest of you Masters, those plays will be called the Bando. In honor... I actually don't have the power. I don't have the power to make that happen. If the community likes it, we'll follow, but that's not up to us.
Yeah, I mean, he survived, so maybe it's not a full Bando play. But it is the Elder Dragon, right? Elder Dragon plus Dragon Soul, like, you definitely want to throw anything you can at trying to defend that, but you know, that's a little bit optimistic there. And now the Baron's going down as well. We did see a Nexus tower fall as well during that whole fight because the super minions that were pushing in mid.
I did not. I only was watching the fight, so thank you for letting me know because I had no idea. Also, by the way, Hades still has not died, right? His team has conceded 19 deaths. You know, there's 43 in the game. And Hades 5-0-6 on this Ezreal. Admittedly, he's played Piercing Arrow bot. That was what I was screaming about earlier. And now LDLC, they're pushing it. They have Elder, they have Baron, they've not got great aim on the Tempered Fate right now. That one missed. Previous have been much better from YellOwStaR. And now the Nexus turret is down. Lamabear and the rest of Vodafone Giants at risk of losing their first game. Foxtrot Pretty goes forward. Chain of Corruption misses a target. True Shot Barrage tags Attila. Pretty's down. Nexus is exposed. Nexus is full gone. Nexus is surrendered. LDLC pick up the first win against the Vodafone Giants.
And what fashion that they did it in. Like, that whole game was mind-blowing. I love that game though. That was a brilliant game. That was a really brilliant game. I hope we see more like that going forward.
I wish everybody at home could have seen the client as the observers left the game. The mouse just did a million circles in celebration. Look, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Foxshop and I are going to break that game down, celebrate it just a little bit more, and you guys have to stick around for the rest of the show because we have no idea who's going through.
Magic. 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 Magic.
Vous comprenez maintenant pourquoi j'ai créé la Magic? En un clip, vous devenez Magic.
La monture avec ses 2 clips pour 149 €.
C'est Magic.
Dispositif médical.
This is my creed. The boots that make me faster. The items that make me stronger. The potions that I drink. I get the best to be more powerful, so my champion rises to the top. But all this leveling up means nothing if I don't level up myself. It's the healthy potions I drink in real life that make me stronger. Because you can only rule the game when you realize you are your most important champion. To play like a pro, eat like a pro.
Thank you for the happiest year of my life. Thank you for the happiest year of my life. Ooh. Ooh. Don't think I could forgive myself.
And welcome back to EU Masters Spring 2020. That was the last game, that quick shot that I and Foxdrop just casted. Oh my word.
That's how good it was.
I had so much fun. I was about to speak about myself in the third person. And you've already got the replays on your screen. I mean, Foxdrop, like, can you make any sense of this? It is why we brought you on the show, you know?
Well, yeah, well, I'll do my best for you, absolutely. I won't go down without a fight. As neither of these teams would this game either. It was really, really insane. The fact that LDLC had quite a poke-heavy comp, I think, posed some challenges up against Giants, who had some beefy front line, but they were always able to find those little avenues in the team fights to make it happen. And, you know, it was such a close game, honestly, right until it was over, honestly. Like, it really could have gone either way, but the fact that, you know, LDLC did have that little extra, the edge of that Infernal.
I mean, this outplay, like, follow YellOwStaR here. He gets the magical journey away from the Antonio, and then a pixel perfect cosmic binding. Like, that happened multiple times this game.
Yeah, YellOwStaR was honestly really impressive. The fact that he was playing Bard when he plays a lot of these kind of like tanky supports normally was kind of definitely something out of the blue.
Sorry. You're going to say YellOwStaR playing Bard when we had Vétheo on Ezreal,
Okay.
TynX on Shyvana, first time Aatrox for Bando in the top lane, first time Renekton for the Antonio, and by the way, I did get some community sentiment. They're calling it the Bando, maybe a thing, so you know, we'll just have to keep tracking that.
Yeah, it was just, you know, I think one of the most impressive things about this game, aside from everything you've listed, because that is the star of the show, is the fact that Hades playing Varus, the zero mobility carry that you often draft like Tahm, Kench and Braum with to protect him, had a massively aggro Bard next to him, had a full poke team with no real front line, and he didn't die once that game, so props to Hades as well.
Listen, that does it for our games. We will be moving over to Mad Magical as well as Ender casting the last three in just a moment, but I do want to set the scene, so Foxtrot, bear with me. I've got the docs, I've got the numbers, I've channeled my inner quick stats. We're going to take a look at the current standings and then very quickly talk through some of the tiebreaker scenarios. So obviously, as you can see the standings on your screen, very important to note that the Vodafone Giants are guaranteed at least a tiebreaker to make it through to the playoffs. That's what their win-loss has afforded them. There are 8 possible scenarios left today. 5 of them include tiebreakers, and one of those 5 is a 2-game tiebreaker. What does that mean? If there's only one tiebreaker game, we will play it today. If we hit that one scenario where there are 2 games, we'll play that on Sunday. And just a reminder that only the top 2 teams will advance to the quarterfinals. Does that make sense, Foxdrop?
That makes absolute sense, and the only thing even in these tiebreaker scenarios, it's like I still have no idea who's going to be involved. Like, especially after that last game, like Vodafone Giants were the clear number 1. Now they've just lost to LDLC, who lost to Rogue. It's like, I mean, it's like a rock paper scissors group. It's really hard to call.
I'm going to do my best to influence the EU Masters social team, and I'm going to, if you want to follow this, my mission over the next 20 minutes is to get the EU Masters at EU Masters on Twitter to tweet out an image of the foldy sheet. It'll show you some information that you guys can follow along with. I actually don't know if I have that power, but I'm going to do my best to make it a reality. And anyways, we've talked about the rest of the schedule for today. You can see the games on your screen. Absolutely every game is going to matter because only 2 of these 4 teams are going to advance, and there is one scenario that the Defuse kids could force a tiebreaker and still make it through. So there's still hope for the Defuse kids.
But they can't drop a single game from here on out, obviously, else they are donezo. If we're making requests for social media pics, can E-Masters Twitter like just bump my Instagram selfie? I could use a bit more likes on that.
I'll ask them to, but I'm going to set expectations, not the priority today. That does it for Foxdrop, and I went to an ad break. And when we come back, Defuse Kids take on Rogue. See you in a few minutes.